Hello there, everyone. Today we will be going over some scripting basics, starting with printing variables and arithmetic. Okay, so we just open the base plate here in Studio, and first of all, we're just going to start with a regular script. We're going to put it in server script service because it's simply good practice to put your scripts there. No exploiters can do anything with it. So when you start out, you can see this print hello world thing here. And if we now run this game, you will be able to see that it prints hello world here in the console. Well, printing is, as you can see, simply just a way to see what's going on in your script, more or less. You simply know when something has run in your script and potentially what has run depending on what you put in your print statements. So for example, if we change something inside of here, for example simply to A, and we run it, obviously it'll now print A. Around the thing that we want to print, there are quotation marks. They can either be double or they can be single. It doesn't really matter. That's identical to Roblox. But that's basically all there is to the basic concept of printing. So then we'll move on to variables. You can also, before we continue, you can start a line with 2 dashes and it'll make it a comment. So basically the script will ignore whatever it says. So we'll do that real quick. And let's look at how we can make a variable. So variables always start with this so-called keyword local. This basically means that you are making a new variable that the script does not yet know about, and you're probably gonna put something in it. So we're gonna put name our first variable simply variable, and as you can see, there is no longer any red underline, so the script should be fine. But now if we run it, absolutely nothing happens because you've just declared an empty variable, so it just doesn't really do anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to save something inside of the variable, for example the number 3. Now there's not really anything you can do with it apart from we can return back to this print statement here. And now pay attention, because when you are trying to print variables, you needn't use quotation marks. So we're going to remove the A, but also we're going to remove the quotation marks. And instead of that, we're going to type a variable. Now if we run the game, as you can see, 3 prints. Because the value of the variable was 3, and we printed the variable, and because there was no quotation marks, it actually looked at the contents of variable instead of literally printing variable. For variables we have a few types. So for example, we have the number, which is for example 3, and we have the string, which is basically a piece of text. We'll just put hello world again. So the first one, it obviously just stores a number. The second one stores a piece of text. That's all the data types, all the variable types we're gonna go over right now. And obviously, just to see it is consistent, you can also put this other variable name in there, and it'll obviously print whatever we put in that variable, which is in this case hello world. As you can see, it prints there. Okay, so that's the basic of declaring variables and printing them out, or printing literal things out. So obviously we can also, at last, we can also just print a number itself instead of putting it in a variable. And in practice, it doesn't really matter whether we put the number in quotes or not, because it just treats it the same way. Okay, so now there's another concept that I would like to speak to you about in this little tutorial, and that is arithmetic. Basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this script to do math. So for example, a basic math thing would be 1 plus 1. Now obviously 1 plus 1 is 2, as we all know. And well, what to expect here, because we'll just print 1 plus 1 just as if we'd write literally 1 plus 1. No, it won't, because number is a number here. It's not a piece of text, it's not a string, but it's a number. And whenever you use some math calculations, such as for math symbols such as plus, minus, divided by, or times, it'll always just immediately do the operation. So in reality, it does the 1 plus 1 before it puts it in number. So this is exactly identical code to local number is 2, which I'm going to show you now, because if we print number, it will simply print 2, not 1 plus 1. The same we obviously can do for times, and it'll print 4. Or perhaps for divided by, and then it should print 1. Or obviously for minus, which will simply return print 0. Well, that's more or less everything that I need to explain. I'm gonna recommend for you to, before you continue, to try a little exercise, and the exercise will basically be just to print 10 from a variable using arithmetic. So basically, make a variable, put something in it that is arithmetic. So like, for example, two numbers plus each other or divided by each other or whatever, and then print that variable and make sure it's 10. So let's end that with it, and if you can't figure it out, feel free to ask down in the comments or in my Discord server.